All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode to the Beautiful Struggle podcast. And this is episode 118. And if this is your first time tuning into the Beautiful Struggle podcast, if you can do me a huge favor and go ahead and leave a rating and review to this podcast, I would greatly appreciate it. It's going to help with the growth of this podcast and with this podcast reaching more people because we got a phenomenal guest in the podcast. A little bit about my guest. He is a motivational speaker. He's an investor. He's also an entrepreneur. And man, I got a dope story. We'll get into the story of how I met him in a minute. But welcome to the podcast, Lisaldo Tavarez. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Happy and grateful to be here. Appreciate the opportunity to even be on your podcast.
Yes,
so
sir.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate you giving us a piece of your time. I know that's very valuable. So, man, how are you doing? How's the family?
Family good, man. I'm here home in New Jersey. I was in Florida for like 5 days at a convention that I was speaking on, and I just finally got back home on Tuesday. So I'm just resting before I go back out next week on the road again.
Yeah, I feel it. So before we get into it, I wanted to tell that quick story. So I first met Lisaldo at a conference about 2 weeks ago or so.
Yeah.
And he was speaking at the conference. He was actually the last speaker at the 2-day conference. And you guys already know, if you're the last speaker, you're the finisher. You gotta deliver. You gotta end it right.
Yeah.
And he certainly did. He was speaking. And, a lot of the speakers, they were speaking about their successes and how much they got, how much money they got, and what they can do for you, what they can give you and whatnot. And I love when he got on stage because he kind of flipped it. He was like, nah, bump all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you my story. I'm going to tell you about the struggle, and I'm going to tell you what you might have to go through to get to those successes. No disrespect to anybody, but it was just a different vibe. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. So I ran up on him right after he got off the stage. He was, trying to get his collective thoughts and whatnot. And I was like, man, I had to get you on the podcast because you embody what the Beautiful Struggle represents, especially your story. So appreciate you to be on here.
Oh, no doubt. Anytime, man. Anytime, man. I'm here to serve and do whatever I can to help the people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm loving this, actually.
Absolutely. So let's get into it, man. I know your story. A couple people out there heard your story before, but for the people that have not, would love for you to take us back in time to your growing up and your upbringing and some of the battles and struggles that you overcame to get to where you're at in life.
Well, yeah. So for those who don't know me, my name is Lisaldo Tavarez. They call me Mr. Teacup because I came up with a Forex strategy that's been used all around the world. But, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So growing up, I had like a regular childhood where, you have a lot of friends and in the neighborhood where you grew up at, people are either playing sports or they're selling drugs. So, coming up in those neighborhoods, you used to see the older dudes,
right,
and the ones that had the nice cars and things of that nature. And you used to ask them, hey, how can I get a car like that? And that's when, you start actually learning about what is the street game, the drug game, and taking into that because you only want to do what you see. So you see the older guys with the cars, the jewelry, the girls, and like, yo, man, I need to be like that too when I'm growing up. So, just like any other kid, man, the neighborhood was full of stars, and it wasn't no Instagram, wasn't no cell phone. So I know it's hard for you guys now to be like, man, how you live without no cell phone and no Instagram? But it was kind of cool because like the only way I could see you if you lived in my neighborhood or you went to my school, something like that. So it was a different time, man. But I'll say it was probably I wouldn't want to grow up in this time. I would like to grow up how I grew up.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
I heard that. So you say you grew up in Brooklyn?
Yeah, Brooklyn, New York.
So walk us through like high school. What type of student were you? What were you getting into, and when did you get that, like maybe that first itch of that entrepreneurial spirit? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, high school, I was always like the person that always made people laugh, and I was always, I was always known, and my high school was not easy. Like my high school was one of the worst high schools. Some gangs and stuff of that nature. A lot of Latin Kings, but I was always the guy that was the bridge to everybody. Like I was always cool with everybody. So whether you was a Lion King, whether you was in that time a Nieta in my neighborhood, right? Like I was always bringing the gangs together because I was always cool with everybody.
Right.
But I remember, so crazy story. So when I was, back in the day, it's not like now. Like back in the days, you can go out to clubs and they wouldn't even search your ID. So I was going out to clubs at 14, 15.
Damn.
And I remember my boy, he started working for a club in New York City called Carbons. And he was like, hey, listen, you want to promote, you can get $5 for everybody that comes to the door. So I was like, yo, I'm popular. Hell yeah.
Right.
I actually, my junior year, that's when the first like cell phone came out. It's called an Ericsson. It was like a phone like this big. I actually knew a girl that worked at the phone company. She got me a phone. And then I went and got like a stamp on my number, my name. And I had the flyers and I posted all over school, all over the neighborhood. So that was like my first, wind of entrepreneurship.
Right.
First encounter. So from there, man, like I was like, man, this is definitely the way to go, because I was getting like, but at that time, people will forget to come to the door and say your name,
right.
So I wouldn't get that much credit, but that was like my first, my first win of my first encounter of entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I feel it. So walk us through, like after high school, man, like what were your options? Because you were speaking about like, man, growing up, you didn't have too many options. We all are familiar with that. But did you go to college? Did you get a job? Like what was next?
I remember my friend graduating high school, his dad, he was in a decent financial position. He bought him a car. And I was like, damn, man, I don't got a car. I'm going to college. I got to take the bus and the train.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting, like, back in the days, what I did was after I finished high school, I did enroll to a community college, right? But in those days, you could go to a temp agency and they'll get you a job, a temporary job. So I was going working different places week to week because it was a temporary job. And I finally latched on with this company and ended up buying me a car right before I started college, And when I went to college, I started realizing, like, I took night classes. I took night classes Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then the morning class Saturday and Sunday. But I was always going out Friday and Saturday. So, man, to make those classes, after that first semester, I said, listen, once I get this financial aid check, I'm gone. So once I got that first financial aid check, I was gone. I left. Never went back to school. I kept working for that temp agency until I became permanent at that job. And yeah, that's basically what happened. I went to college for like a semester and then I left.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I feel it. So when you were speaking at the conference, man, the story that you broke down of you going through some life changes and whatnot, I would love for you to kind of get into that and like what even brought you to that point. Cause I think you were saying at one point in your life, you were doing really well, if I'm not mistaken, and you kind of had a hard fall. If I'm not, you can walk through the story. I don't remember vividly.
Yeah. So after that temp agency job, I had lost that job. And then I went back to the temp agency job, and then they got me it was like a construction job. So it was like a job where, anytime they'll come do construction, I will have to mark the gas lines and the electric lines. So when they dig in the ground, they don't hit it and blow something up or electrocute somebody, right? Or themselves. So I ended up sticking on with that job from 1999. Now I'm 41, from 1999 to 2013. But I was making six figures, and I'm talking about this is 2003 to 2013. I was making six figures, where, it's different making six figures now compared to then. So I was doing very good. The mother of my kids, we ended up buying a house in 2009, 2007. And then, everything was going good. And I ended up losing that job in March. As a matter of fact, March 14th, 2013, that job had a downsize.
Wow.
So what happened was I was making $140,000 a year. When they downsized, they were trying to pay me $38,000 a year.
Wow.
And I said, man, listen, I can't afford to be making $38,000 when my lifestyle is $140,000. So I had a little money saved up. So I said, listen, I remember going home that night. I said, listen, I'm going to start this entrepreneurship journey. I'm just going to start it because, I seen what happens. And plus I have 2 daughters, had 2 daughters at the time. I was like, man, I wouldn't want my life to be in somebody else's hands because I was crushing driving home, knowing that your kids, when you get home, they all come up to you, they run to you, they hug you, but your mind is stressed out because you're like, how am I going to pay for this mortgage? How are we going to continue to live this lifestyle? So I ended up investing into some business. I actually came up with one of the first ever hookah pins. Right in 2013, I called it Hookah Lou. It was like a hookah pin, and it had different flavors. But I invested a lot of money into that. But you know how sometimes you get into something too early. Like I got into the hookah too. Now you go everywhere, hookahs. Right. But I got into it when it wasn't really
popping.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I lost money there. Then I bought a debt collection company. People that call you when you owe money, they're like try to make a deal with you. I bought like $1 million worth of debt. Nobody ever paid anything. Nobody ever agreed to anything. Right. So I ended up losing money there. So then what happens is once that happened, I lost my savings. I lost the 2 businesses that I invested in. I didn't have a job, but then I had a fallout with the mother of my kids. So that's when I really just started going bad. It just started tumbling down. Ended up moving to my mother's house in 2000, 2 days before my birthday, August 16, 2013. I ended up moving to my mother's house. And, I was staying there for a little bit. I was trying to get back on my feet, but, she was like, listen, you can't stay here because I have Section 8. And Section 8 is going to come and it's really me and your sister here, not you. And then, they're going to see your stuff. And, I don't want to lose my Section 8. And I didn't want to lose a Section 8.
Right.
So I ended up leaving in 2015 to Orlando. And then I was just really going through bad times. I ended up, at first I was like looking for places to stay. So I would like sleep on a bus or sleep outside sometimes until my aunt let me stay on her couch. She let me stay on her couch. And that was like my lowest point in life. Because I'm thinking I'm like 34 years old. I got 2 kids. I came from having a good life to now I don't have nothing. I'm on a couch. I have money. I'm backed up on child support. They took my license. And man, that was like a real, a big moment in my life, where a lot of people will probably just fold it or just, gave up, but I couldn't because of my 2 daughters. And, so I'm there, I'm trying to make ends meet. I'm trying to figure life out,
And not to cut you off, but in that moment, what was your mindset? Were you still on entrepreneurship? Were you like, man, I got to figure this out? Were you just
I was always on entrepreneurship. The problem is when you don't have no money, it's hard to be on anything, because you want to probably do something that can make you some money entrepreneurship wise.
Yeah. So the reason why I brought that up is because I want to park it just real quick. You said you were 34, 33 years old. You're trying to figure stuff out. Most people, actually, I would say like 99% of people that would be in your situation, all the dreams and everything would just be thrown out the window. They just like, let me just get this job so I can put some food on the table. But you were like, no, I still want to figure this out eventually. Like I'm still, want to get back up there. So I think it's incredible that you had that mindset at that age, where most people think 34 years old, if you don't have it together by then, your life is over. But it's actually a young age, right? You can still get a lot done. And you still had that mindset where, I'm going to make it happen somehow eventually.
But I made it worse for myself because I remember on June 3rd, 2016 was my daughter's birthday, my oldest daughter's birthday. And for the last 2 years, I haven't been able to give my daughters anything for their birthday, for Christmas, because I've been, I didn't have no money. I've been in a bad situation, and I pride myself on being a father. And, we all have somebody that we can call that, does things that they shouldn't be doing, And I called a friend of mine in Orlando and I was like, listen, man, it's my daughter's birthday. I'm just trying to make a couple of bucks so I could sell her something, because I haven't sent her in 2 years for Christmas or for their birthdays.
Birthday.
And he was like, well, listen, I got something, but hey, listen, there's a chance that, you take. So he gave me a check to cash. Mind you, it's her birthday. He gives me a check to cash the first place that I go to cash the check, I'm there like, and the lady's asking me questions, and she's like, oh, let me go to the back. So I'm like, why did it take it so long to cash the check? I never forget this moment. I hear somebody come in the door and then lock it. I said, let me turn around. And when I turned around, it was a police officer. Mind you, it's Friday, 9:00 in the morning. Everybody's going there to cash their checks. It's Friday. And when I saw that police officer, I knew. I said, when you know it's like, this is me. And he came up to me, he said, do me a favor, step to the side over here. Because there was people on other lines cashing the checks. And then he says, do you have any ID? Blah, blah. And then I had like a fake ID, but not my name, credit cards and stuff like that. And I said, oh my God. So the most difficult part of that day was not that I got arrested, that I got arrested so early that forget about me sending my daughter a gift. I wasn't even able to call her for her birthday. Because I stood in jail the whole weekend. So, sitting in that jail cell for those 3 days, and I got like 7 felonies on me, because I the credit card fraud, they hit ID, fake license, all that stuff. I'm like, I could never, even if I wanted to go back to a job, I could never get a job now. All those felonies, I could not get a job. So as I'm sitting in that cell, 3 long days to think. And I said, listen, when I get out of here, I'm just gonna find something. I gotta change this around. This can't be the ending of my book. This can't be how I go out. Not like this, to have success, always living a good life, always traveling, new cars, with a 9-to-5. To be here at this point, I was like, I can't end like this. So when I got out, I started, a friend of mine, he introduced me to trading, trading currency. And I had a little computer. So every day, what I did day and night was that couch was my bed, my sofa, everything. Be on that couch, studying the charts, learning how to trade, because, I committed myself to like, this is all I can do. I can't get a federal job, can't get a good job. I wasn't going to go work in the supermarket. They wouldn't even hire me because I tried just to be a bag boy, because my child support was so much money, it was piling up. So mind you, I couldn't drive. So when you live in Florida, when you get a job, you got to drive to the job.
Yeah.
I couldn't even drive. And then I didn't have a car. So, man, I came into this trading, and I remember a friend of mine showed me this, and he was involved with a company. But to get the education from the company, you had to pay membership, and a monthly membership. But I didn't have the money. But my aunt did. And I asked her for the money, and she lent it to me. And I was able to get the membership, and really learned how to trade. And learning how to trade and coming up with my strategy from 2017 to today has made me a multi-millionaire. But that money that she lent me, which was $215 at the time, changed my whole life. It changed the course of my life, to be honest with you. And that's why I'm here standing with you today.
Right.
But I went through a lot, like even depression, because when you're going through things of that nature, you get self-doubt. You start questioning God, like, why me? You start being like, why me? Why? I'm not a bad person. Why you? I got 2 kids. Why would you put me in this predicament? So you have a lot of thoughts. You can't sleep. I used to cry a lot of nights. I used to cry myself to sleep because I would look at my situation. I'm in my aunt's couch at 35 years old. I'm looking out the window. I see a parking garage. It's like, man, this is my life right now. And Nobody ever knows. I always say this. Nobody ever knows what you go through, but you. They can think they know what you're going through, or but only you know what the emotions, what you was feeling in those moments when you down and out, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I went through a lot of. I was depressed for like 2 years. Bad depression for like 2 years.
So, man, speak to the people out there that may be in that similar situation, that going through life and they just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? What are some of the things that made you or allowed you to overcome that situation? I mean, you mentioned a couple of things, just taking the risk and being committed to something, investing in yourself. But what would you recommend to people out there that are like down and out, trying to figure life out, maybe same age as you, and they just don't know where to go? They don't know, like you said, they don't want the story to end, but they just don't know where to go.
Well, the one thing you got to figure out is why you're doing it. Why are you doing this for? Whatever you're doing in life, who are you doing it for? You know, they say it's a why. Find your why. My why was my daughters. So no matter what, I used to always tell myself, I got to keep knocking on doors until one opens. You know, I tried many things, man. Listen, I tried many things in those years that I was on the couch. Nothing worked. If I tell you I tried over 100 things, I've tried over 100 things, nothing worked. And it's easy to get to a point where you're like, you know what? Maybe this ain't for me. Maybe success isn't for me. Maybe, you know, God has different plans, but success, when you start really, you start asking yourself, you start having a lot of interventions with yourself.
Yeah.
But what you can't do, you can't give up. You can't quit. Because I always tell people it's going to get worse before it gets better. Because, you know, at the moment you need it. Like you want to be successful. Whatever you're going through, like you want to be successful. You need to be successful. But what I started to realize was, as much as I needed it, as much as I wanted, it was on God's timing. So for the people right now that are going through the same situation that I was, might be depressed, down and out, wake up every day and tell yourself, you know what? My time is coming, but it's on God's time. And once I started telling myself that, I stopped being depressed. I stopped worrying so much because I knew it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? The man upstairs got a plan for me. You know, he sees it. I don't see it. We don't see it. Only he sees it. But he sees the success that he's going to give you. You just got to start telling yourself, like, hey, whatever I'm going through, it's just preparing myself for those days that are going to be amazing. And I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to be like, oh, I'm grateful. God bless. I can't believe all these blessings. Everything that you're going through now is preparing you for those days. God just wants to see that you're going to make it to those days, that you're not going to quit. You're not going to give up. And that's the one thing I'll tell you, once my attitude, my mind changed from why me, you know, why has all this stuff happened to me? So you know what? It's because God is preparing me for all the good stuff that he got for me. So he has to put me through this right now. So when I get to all the good things, I can appreciate it much more. I'll be humble because I know where I came from. So I'll be so humble and grateful that I'm in this position, that I have blessings. So understand, whatever you're going through right now, it's okay. God is preparing you for all your blessings. And like I said, you can knock on 9 doors and they can all be closed. But that 10th one that you open will make up for all the 9 doors that were closed on you. So that's how I started thinking. That's why I tell anybody that's watching this and is gonna watch this, like, listen, it's okay to go. Listen, I always say this: F comes before S in the alphabet. So you're gonna fail way much more than you succeed. That's just life.
Yeah.
It don't matter how successful you are. You might be the richest person in the world right now, and you're still gonna fail more than you succeed. And you still could be the richest person in the world, but you're gonna still fail more than you succeed. It's just part of life.
Yeah.
You know, so it's okay that even though everything is going bad for you and you keep failing, it's okay, because that success that's coming, I'm telling you, is going to make up for everything that you're going through right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love what you said about attitude, because I always say the 2 things there's a lot of things you can't control in life and things that are not going to go your way, right? But 2 things you can control is your attitude and your effort in life, right? So definitely believe that. And something else I wanted to bring up real quick, speaking about, failure and whatnot, at the conference, you said a quote that I'd never heard before, and it just hit different. You said your journey will give you more opportunities to quit than faith to keep going.
Yeah.
I never heard that before. And I was like, damn, bro. I think that was a moment I was like, I got to get him on the podcast.
Your journey will give you more opportunities to quit than faith to keep going.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, since you're coming across all those failures, it's just the easiest thing to do is just quit. Mm-hmm. People after a while will start telling themselves, hey, listen, I did everything I can. So you can't be mad at me if I quit. Because it's true, like they've tried everything and nothing working. So if they quit, you can't even be mad at them because they start telling themselves, nobody can be mad at me because they see me try everything. It wasn't like I was just not trying. I was not putting effort, but nothing was working out. So they start subconsciously telling themselves that, so it could be much easier when they do quit. They can feel much better when they do quit. So that's what I'm saying. Like this journey, the journey to success, to all your success, will give you more opportunities to quit than faith to keep going. Because think about it, if you keep failing and you're not having no success and you're going through hard times, is it easy at that moment to just keep going? No. Mm-mm. We could tell you that. I could tell you that, till the cows come home. Mm-hmm. But in true reality, when you're in the moment, you're like, yo, I give up. I've tried. Everything I do either doesn't work or something goes wrong. So it's easy to quit. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to quit. And anything that you're doing in life is so easy to quit when times get tough. Mm. When you keep on going, keep climbing the ladder, they push you back down. Easy to quit. But to stay, that's the hard part. And that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody has their own journey. Like, everybody has a destination to reach. It's up to you if you're going to reach it. Mm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I always say this, like, I made it to my destination. I'm just here waiting for everybody else to make it to theirs. Mm-hmm. Because we all have a destination.
Yeah.
It's up to you to get there. You have to have it in you. And sometimes being mentally tough is probably the best advice I can give anybody on this podcast. Being mentally tough is what you need to have to be successful in life, to overcome things. Mm-hmm. Because if you're not mentally tough, what happens is you're going to crumble.
Mm-hmm. You'll fold.
You see what I'm saying? And as you go, like, we want life to go like this. Perfect. Like, from where we start to where we want to get to, but it's going to go like this and it's going to go to the side. And those are the moments where, you have those talks with yourself, like, yo, should I give this up? Mm. I said this before. People have fallouts with their dreams because they don't like how their dreams are moving. Mm. Because you expect your dreams to just straight path.
Yeah.
So you stop chasing your dreams because you don't like how your dreams are moving. They gave you too much difficulties to get to your dreams.
Yeah.
To make it happen. So you have a fallout with your dreams. And that comes from being mentally tough, man. Like, everybody has, listen, ain't nobody in this world can tell me, if I ask 100 people right now, hey, would you like to have money in life? Everybody's going to say yes. Mm-hmm. And that's all of us is trying to get to that level where we could do whatever we want in life. Because we are financially free. Mm-hmm. So whatever dream you're chasing has money attached to it.
Right.
But I always tell people, don't chase the money when you're chasing your dream. Chase the freedom. Because if you chase the freedom and you acquire the freedom, the money's right behind it because you can't have freedom without money. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying? You can't have freedom without money. So sometimes when you just chase the money, you never get it.
Yeah, because you can have money and not have freedom.
Chase the freedom. Because once you acquire that freedom, that means that you have acquired enough money to have that freedom.
Mm,
I never chased the money. When I
that's
was
good.
down and out, I never chased the money. I chased the freedom.
Mm,
I wanted the freedom. And if I got the freedom, I knew the money was right attached to it.
mm. Yeah, I was gonna ask you, once you started making trading, once you started making money trading currency, um, I mean, I guess you kind of answered it now, but how did you keep yourself from being satisfied? Like you probably see like, oh wow, this is working. I'm making money. I'm doing something. I tried 100 things, but this is actually working. How did you keep yourself grounded and to like get to the point where you're making 7, 8 figures or whatever amount of money you made doing this? How did you get to that point where you just kept yourself grounded enough to just keep going and not be satisfied?
Because I'll be honest with you, I'm traumatized.
Mm,
Um, before I just built this house. I just moved into this house February 1st. I bought the land, built it from the ground up.
mm,
But before I was living in a penthouse in Atlanta. And, because in life we could all get complacent. You start making a little bit of money, you feel like, oh, I'm doing good. You get complacent, you get lazy. So in that apartment, I would sleep on the couch at least once or twice a week
mm,
to remind me from where I came from, so I know where not to go back.
mm,
People think I'm crazy, but I told people I'm traumatized.
mm-hmm.
So I would sleep on that couch, and when I would wake up from that couch the next morning, it was like, oh shit, I can be right back here.
Right. Right. Wow. Wow.
And that would make sure that I don't get complacent, that I don't think that I made it, that I keep going, because there's still more to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is that people get a little bit of money, then they got a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. Depends how big does your mind expand? Like I don't got my jet yet. I don't have I don't have a vacation home in Miami on the water.
Mm-hmm.
Things that I don't have. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
things that I don't have. But I can't stop because I already know what it is to come from a couch, to go days without eating, to sleep on a bus, sometimes sleep outside. I just feel like sometimes I feel like that it was just yesterday that happened.
Mm.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So people be like, yo, why you work so hard? You got money? No, because I'm still traumatized.
Right. Right.
Everybody has trauma in their life. Some people just don't admit it, but we've all been through something that gave us some trauma.
Sometimes it's been normalized as they just think it's normal.
Yeah, and like my trauma was every day. Like, think about it. I'm sleeping on a couch and I'm living out of a bag. So when you go on vacation, you go somewhere to visit for a couple of days, you're basically living out of a bag because you're going to your hotel, your clothes are in the luggage, whatever. Imagine doing that for 2.5 years.
Mm. Get old real quick.
I was living out of a bag for
Mm.
2 years because my aunt didn't have no room for me in her apartment. She just had the couch. She didn't have a closet for me. She didn't have a bed for me. She didn't have nothing. So I was I had a Nike bag. I was living out that bag for 2 years.
Mm. Crazy.
So yeah, I feel like I could go back to that. So I don't let myself get complacent. I put new goals. I try to reach new goals because I feel like I just can't stop because it's easy to go back to that.
Absolutely. Something else you said at the conference, you said most people are built for success, not failures. What you mean by that?
Because think about it. Most people are into something or anything when everything is going good.
Mm.
Relationship, at the beginning of the relationship, everything's great.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's successful. You get to know the person. You get to know what favorite color, what's his favorite color, what's her favorite food, what's his favorite movie, blah, blah, blah. At the beginning, everything's great. And then once that hype dies down, it's like problems start coming. You start arguing. And that's how it is in life. Like, people are only built for the good parts.
Mm.
I'd rather be built for the bad. I'd rather be built for failure, again, because I know I'm gonna fail more than I succeed. So I want to be built to fail. Because if I'm built to fail, nothing's gonna bother me when I fail. I'm like, okay, I failed. Boy, I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
I heard that.
Like everybody's built for success. You know, like as soon as somebody hits a roadblock, hits an iceberg, like the Titanic, adversity or obstacle, they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But they knew what to do when everything was going great. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we got to change. You got to be built for failure, not for success, because you don't have a lot of those. Even the most successful person, again, has had more failures than success.
Mm.
So I'd rather be built to lose, because I know that's coming more than wins.
Mm.
Remember, you only need one win.
Only one.
You can have 100 failures, but just 2 or 3 good wins offsets all those failures. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how I always think about life. So that's what I'm saying. I'm built to fail.
Mm. Mm. So, I mean, what do you think that thing was, that factor was that you couldn't, those 100 things that you did, why couldn't you get it going? Like, what was that thing? Was it giving up too early? Was it just not meant for you? Like, what was
I never give up on nothing. It was just not meant for me.
I got you. Yeah.
It just wasn't. That wasn't what God had planned for me with that right there. That was.
Yeah.
But never, because I never gave up, because I tried everything, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're on a couch, like, think about perspective in life. Most people right now wake up every day from a bed. Most people that's going to watch this wake up from a bed, and they praying for a nice house, cars, money, materialistic things. I was just praying for a bed.
Mm.
I was like, yo, God, listen, I just need a bed. Like, I wasn't even praying for money or for materialistic. I was just like, yo, God, get me a bed, right? And I'll be climbing. That'll be like a step up, and then I'll get, maybe after a bed I can get an apartment. That's what I was praying for.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't have that. What most people take for granted, I was dying for.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thinks about, oh, you go sleep. Oh, I'm going to sleep in my bed. You don't even think about how grateful you are to how lucky you are to have a bed, because you just think it's by nature I should have a bed.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to have a bed, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true.
But what you have right now, I was praying for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as everybody prays and asks for all materialistic things, I just wanted a simple thing. I said, let me get a bed, let me get a little apartment, then I can start taking care of my kids. I was praying for the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
I was praying for the bare minimum. God bless me everything else, but I was praying for the bare minimum.
Yeah, love that. So you get into trading currency, you start seeing success. I mean, what was next for you? I mean,
Investing.
You what?
Investing. I was making money, and I was investing.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good transition, because the next thing I wanted to talk about was multiple streams of income. We live in crazy times right now, man, like inflation, war, talking about Web 3.0. The world is changing very quickly before our eyes, whether people like it or not. And if you don't keep up, it's just going to pass you up 100 times.
Yeah.
And the past couple of years has proven nothing really secure, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you got a 9-to-5, both of those things can be taken away from you. You know what I'm saying? So let's be honest, a lot of people out there got one stream of income. And I think you posted, not to brag or anything like that, you posted that you got over 20 streams of income. You know what I'm saying? So speak about you now investing your money, because you're probably in a mindset where you're like, yo, I'd never want to go back to where I was. Let me park my money. Let me put my money in places that's going to allow me to be free, and that my money's going to work for me. So talk about you investing and whatnot and taking yourself to the next level, because one stream of income, like everybody says, is way too close to zero.
I think that's the biggest thing that I try to preach. over the years. If I know you just started following me on Instagram now, but over the years, I was preaching to everybody who followed me, like, and everywhere I go, like, invest your money, because as an entrepreneur, you're going to have the good times, you're going to have your bad times. And if you get blessed where you have a good run, where you're making a good amount of money, what we tend to do is we want to show you that we have money. So we want to go get liabilities, get a brand new car, maybe move into a bigger apartment, buy nicer clothes, go out more. And what people don't understand is that you can do all that. But it's much better when you have multiple streams of income coming in. So when I started getting money, I wasn't going to these high-end stores. I was still shopping to this day at H&M, Zara, something that I could afford, because I was first of all, I have 2 kids. But I always realized when you don't respect money, you'll end up losing it. When you don't respect money, you'll end up losing it. And I think that's the reason why I was in the position I was in, because I didn't respect money. I didn't realize, man, I worked hard for this money, so let me do something with it instead of doing something stupid with it. Because too many people like to live for the applause. They're living for themselves. So when I got money, I started studying different ways to make different types of income. And because I'm in the network marketing field, and I'm always networking, and I met people that own trucking companies. And I always say that closed mouth don't get fed.
Right.
So I would ask them, I say, listen, I don't know anything about trucks, but how would I be able to invest? Like, how would I be able to, like, do you have any investment packages for somebody that wants to invest? They're like, we don't have investment packages, but, we can work something out if you go purchase a truck and I put it to work. And I said, oh, yeah, so what would you work out? Blah, blah, blah. Cool, I like the numbers. I bought a truck. It started from 1 to 17. Now I got 15. And I started seeing, like, man, these are just different streams of income.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Like, I like a lot of incomes coming in every week. Because if, let's say, you want to buy a nice car, a lot of people do that, go buy a nice apartment or go upgrade their living, go for one stream of income, like you said. Instead of being like, you know what, I'm going to wait for this apartment. I'm going to wait for these clothes. I'm going to wait for this car. I'm going to save up my money and invest it. And then whatever I make from that extra stream of income, then I'll go get this new car. Cool. Now I want a new apartment. All right, cool. Let me invest in another stream of income. So that could pay for that apartment or house, whatever. People don't think like that. People they try to buy everything off that one stream. And then what happens, they start getting tight. See what I'm saying? Because they compile so much liabilities off of one stream of income that it doesn't match up.
Can't invest.
Can't invest. Because you just went, as soon as you got some money, you went and just got yourself none but liabilities instead of assets. So now when you want to invest, you're like, damn, but I'm tied up. I got my car note, this new apartment, whatever you got yourself into. Those funds that you have freed are not free no more. So now you can invest, you can't save, and yeah, you might have start making more money, but you still live in check to check.
Yeah.
So what I did, I live within my means. I live within my means. And gradually I took baby steps if I wanted something. I just bought a car in January. I didn't have a car for like 7-8 years. And even when I was making money, I didn't go buy myself a nice car, because I was like, first of all, I'm traveling. So if I buy a car, it's just going to stay at the building I live in. So it was just me making smart financial decisions.
How do you think we get our people, bro, to transition into that mindset? To simply, not even to like, I'm not even saying
it's hard. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why it's hard. Because the pressure that social media puts on you, what they see, people want to fit in so much instead of standing out.
Right.
People just trying to fit in with everybody else instead of standing out. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So all that pressure, all that goes into, man, if I start getting some money, I'm gonna get me some jewelry, I'm gonna get me some drip, I'm gonna get me a nice car, nice crib, and then I can take these nice pictures. See what I'm saying? People ain't even living for themselves, they're living for other people.
That's a fact.
So it's hard to change. Yeah, it's hard to change a mindset.
Yeah.
When people are not even living for themselves, they're really living for the applause of others.
Mm.
And that's a scary thing to live your life on, is the applause of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might like my post, you might think I'm living great, but if something happens to me where I fall back down, you're not going to help me.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard to tell people that been ingrained all their lives,
yeah,
that you have to, because where we come from, you have to show off. You have to, try to make others feel bad because they don't have what you have. So it's hard, it's hard to get people to change their mindset. But, like I said, the internet is a gift and a curse, because the internet, you can meet other entrepreneurs. You can see ideas that people have been doing to make money. So that can help you, but also it can hurt you because you want to keep up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact. Yeah. So how do you move? Like, what I'm saying, like with the family, you're doing well. They probably see you doing well, and I know you want to give back to them. You want to bring them up so bad, but like you said, it's hard for people to change that mindset. I'm sure you can't bring everybody up. So how do you go about it? You just keep doing what you got to do. Maybe they'll fall in line one of these days.
Yeah, I just do what I do. I don't reach out to try to tell people to do certain things, or like if they really wanted to change their situation or to get any knowledge, they know my number. I keep moving forward, because the way I see it is, like, when I was down and out, nobody was really out there helping me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I was moving by myself. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to stop now to come get you when you ain't stopped then to come get me.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? So it's like, I really don't, I just keep moving forward, like they see my success, whenever I see them, they're happy for me, but I don't, I just keep moving forward living my life.
Yeah, I feel it. So transitioning a little bit, man, we can start wrapping this thing up. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I think one of the last things I wanted to ask you about is, you spoke on, like, you're just so busy. I mean, you got a lot of streaming income, you got kids, family, what are some of the ways that you take care of your mental health as an entrepreneur?
Good question.
Nowadays, as an entrepreneur, we're almost trained that we got to hustle, go. We got to be traveling.
I think my balance is my kids.
Okay.
For example, I'm picking up my daughters tomorrow. So for the next few days, it would be about them.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't gonna be nothing about me being an entrepreneur. Nothing. Like, it's just gonna be about them. And that's like my balance. Mm-hmm. That's like my safe haven. Mm-hmm. That keeps me sane, because, it can get crazy as an entrepreneur. Yeah. You're always trying to do something, do the next thing, and try to make more money and more meetings. And it's like, you're always on the run, you're always on the go. But my daughters keep me sane. So, like, tomorrow when I pick them up at 3:00, man, my weekend is all about them. Mm-hmm. I don't even know. I'm just dad to them. I'm not this person, and it's all about them. I don't even think about nothing else but them,
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, I love that.
That's really what my mental, and like I said, talking to my mother, my father, because at the end of the day, like, those are the people that actually really, care about you.
Care about you, yeah.
Whether you have something, you have nothing, they're still going to care about you.
Care about you, yeah.
So I try to speak to them a lot. Mm-hmm. Try to talk to them a lot. Try to be with them a lot when I'm in town, because, a lot of the stuff, everything else, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. It's really the people that love you that matter. So that's what takes care of my mental health,
Yeah, I love that. Quick question: what's your ethnicity, bro? Like, where's your family from?
Also, my parents are from the Dominican Republic, so I'm
Got you.
Dominican.
Got you. That's what's up, man. I really enjoyed this conversation with you, man. I appreciate you jumping on here, giving us a piece of your time. A lot of insight, a lot of game in here, a lot of things for people to sit down and think about, right? And to reflect on. But one thing I love for my guests to do for the audience is leave the audience with one last gem, one last piece of advice. If you can leave the audience with anything, what would it be? And we can end it on that note.
One thing I always say, because I had to understand that when I was going through my thing, and something that I always say now, great things happen over time, not overnight. Great things happen over time, not overnight. And if you can get that in your mental, and you get that in your head, and drill that in your head, and tell yourself every day, you know what, great things happen over time, not overnight.
Love that. Where can people reach out to you? Where can people find you if they want to connect with you or anything?
If you go to my Instagram at Mr. Teacup 1_, Facebook, Lisaldo Tavarez. I'm not really on Facebook. I'm just more on Instagram. I got a YouTube that I'm starting to get going, Lisaldo Tavarez, but Mr. Teacup 1_. You can find me on Instagram.
Boom. Love it. Again, I appreciate your time. And it's your boy, Chris, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.